Hey everyone, I'm Fabian Delgado, and today we're hitting the road. Historically speaking, from 1832 to 1848, the United States was in motion, people were moving across land, across oceans, and through massive social change. We call this period People in Motion, and it covers immigration, westward expansion, and powerful reform movements that helped shape the future of the country. Let's get started. First up, immigration. In the 1830s and 1840s, millions of immigrants arrived in the U.S. Most came from Ireland and Germany, fleeing famine, poverty, and political unrest. The Irish potato famine alone brought over 1 million people to the U.S. by the late 1840s. They mostly settled in the northern cities like New York and Boston, taking factory jobs and building infrastructure. But they weren't always welcome. No Irish need apply. Signs showed up in listings that phrase tell us how nativism, fear, and hatred of immigrants was growing. We got a long way to go. At the same time, America was expanding west. Thousands of white settlers headed westward, encouraged by the idea of manifest destiny, the belief that the U.S. was meant to stretch from coast to coast. Thanks to the Indian Removal Act of 1830, Native Americans were forced off their lands, creating space of white immigration west. This movement came a huge human cost. We can see this in a primary source, a letter from Margaret Frink, who traveled the Oregon Trail in 1845. She wrote, "We have crossed the plains in pursuit of better land and freedom. Yet we have seen death, sickness, and suffering in every mile." This isn't just a story of bravery. It's a story of hardship, loss, and survival. At the same time the U.S. was pushing westward, thousands of white settlers moved west, driven by the idea of manifest destiny, the belief that America was meant to stretch from coast to coast. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced Native Americans off their land, making room for white settlers but at a devastating human cost. We see this through a primary source behind me, right here. This map shows the Cherokee Nation on the eve of removal Indian territory. The discovery of gold in the region sparked a constitutional battle over control of Cherokee land. In 1832, the Supreme Court ruled that the federal government had ultimate authority over Indian nations. The state of Georgia ignored the ruling and sought to enforce its own laws in Cherokee territory. This wasn't just a story of adventure, it was also one of hardships, loss, and endurance. I'm so tired of protesting, super duper hot. But the motion wasn't just across land. It was ideological too. This era gave rise to powerful reform movements. People were rethinking society and fighting for justice. Take abolition, the movement to end slavery in 1845. Frederick Douglass published Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave. In it he wrote, "You have seen how a man was made a slave. You shall see how a slave was made a man." His words challenged Americans to confront the brutality of slavery and help fuel the abolitionist cause. Women's rights were also gaining steam. Leaders like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott organized, leading to the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, the first women's right convention in U.S. history. Wow, New York. I mean, this is really where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Wow, look, I brought my baseball glove. Maybe I could catch a Yankee game, get my glove signed, or who knows, catch a few home runs. Here's a great secondary source that we have learned in class. It's called mass migration. It says, when foreign visitors called Americans a restless people, they were referring to patterns of both immigration to and migration with the country. Between 1830 and 1850, 2.3 million immigrants entered the U.S., up from a total of 152,000 during the two previous decades. While people were moving west, many others were flooding into cities. This time saw rapid urban growth in places like New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. Immigration and industrialization packed thousands into crowded, noisy neighborhoods where jobs were hard to find and even hard to keep. Factories were everywhere with long hours, low wages, and unsafe working conditions. Whole families, including children, had to work just to survive. But all that struggle led to something new: resistance. For the first time, workers began standing up for their rights, asking for better pay, fewer hours, and safer work conditions. Early strikes and labor protests were signs that people weren't just looking for a new home. They wanted a better life wherever they ended up. Movement wasn't just across the land anymore. It was happening inside the cities, inside factories, and inside people's minds. Oh my goodness, I'm so tired. I'm so thirsty. I need some water. Well, no water. Looks like I'm gonna die of thirst. So what does people in motion mean? It's more than people moving from one place to another. It's the movement of ideas, the reshaping of identity, and the struggle of freedom, in every sense of the word. And we are still feeling the effects of those movements today. Thanks for watching.